Hi, my name is Olivia Parks and I'm the AmeriCorps naturalist here at Dorothy Pico Nature Center. And today I am introducing you guys to our bull snake. We got her from a private reptile rescue in August of 2015. We kind of guesstimate her age is around 8 to 10 years old. She is a full-grown bull snake. Bull snakes are one of the largest species of snakes here in Iowa. They can grow to be about 3 to 6 feet long here in Iowa, but their range tends to be here in Iowa, southeast South Dakota, eastern Nebraska, northern Missouri, and around the Great Lakes. Bull snakes do lay eggs and tend to hiss when feeling threatened. Sadly, their numbers are declining because they live in prairie areas, and of course, as you guys know, prairies are slowly dwindling. So I'm going to go ahead and stick her in the aquarium, and we're going to go ahead and watch her eat. Just so you guys know, we do feed them mice, so she will be going after those mice and eating. And she tends to be a little more aggressive, so she might strike at the glass or she might strike at them. Mice, but we will be able to see her today. So if you guys need to step out, because you have a little weak stomach to eating mice or watching snakes, go ahead and step out now, and we're going to go ahead and stick her in there, okay? All right, so we're feeding her 5 mice today. Bull snakes will eat a variety of different foods. They are constrictors, meaning that they're non-venomous. But if their prey is larger than them, they will constrict their prey. But if it's smaller than them, they will just swallow it whole. The reason we are able to tell that she is a bull snake is because of her coloration. And if you guys can see her nose, maybe I can get her to follow me. Her nose has a very blunt end to it, a very corner triangle shape to it. That shape allows them to burrow into other mammals' holes, and that's actually where they will overwinter and sleep. And that's kind of where they leave their dens. They will overwinter with a variety of other species of snakes. One snake that isn't around here that they also have been heard to overwinter with is the timber rattlesnake. Speaking of rattlesnakes, bull snakes tend to be mistaken for rattlesnakes a lot of the time, just because one of their defense mechanisms is to rattle their tail and hiss really loudly. And they are found in similar areas. Bull snakes are one of the most common snakes that people will know here in Iowa. As many of you might hear, you've heard of bull snakes before. The most common is, of course, the garter snake, which many of you have in your backyards. But because so many people know of bull snakes, they do not have any issues trying to get rid of them. But sadly, bull snakes are one of the special concern snakes here in Iowa, so it is illegal to take such action and hurt the animal. There are actually some studies that are trying to restore some population of bull snakes by putting them in ideal areas such as prairies, bluff prairies, and other areas that they would like to live in. Bull snakes do lay eggs, And they lay 8 to 24 eggs in their burrows at one time. This bull snake is a female, and the reason we're able to know that is because she has laid eggs before. Follow my fingers. She's being a little camera shy today. That's kind of surprising for her. It is shown that some bull snakes do hybridize with some fox snakes. I know you guys have joined us for our live video about fox snakes before. So there are some species of bull snakes and fox snakes that have mated with each other.
We have a question asking if they hiss.
They do hiss. So that's one of their defense mechanisms, like I said. They have a cartilage flap that is in front of their trachea that vibrates and forces air past it, which gives it a really raspy sound. That's why a lot of times the species is mistaken for a rattlesnake, because they'll be in tall grasses near where prairie rattlesnakes might be found. And they will hiss super loudly and shake their tail in that tall grass. And that will commonly make you think it is a rattlesnake. Oh, looks like she's found a mouse. Let's see if she goes after it. So like I said, bull snakes are muscular constrictors, so their main prey are pocket gophers, meadow mice, voles, shrews, ground squirrels, rabbits, squirrels, birds' eggs, frogs, and lizards. They mostly like eating warm-blooded animals, so mostly mammals, like the small mammals I was talking about. But oh, there she goes. And as from the list of animals that I kind of mentioned, a lot of them do have their own burrows. And kind of an interesting fact that I found out about these guys is when they are crawling underground, they sometimes will capture their prey by pressing them against the burrow wall with their body. That would cause that animal to suffocate, which is how most constrictors do kill their prey.
Do you know how long she is?
We believe she is about 5 to 6 feet long. She's our biggest snake here at the Nature Center. And bull snakes are one of the biggest snakes in the whole United States, so that's kind of an interesting fact. There are some that are bigger, and they are a subspecies of what many people know as a gopher snake. And some other areas outside of Iowa might actually call them the gopher snake if you show them a picture of this. But technically they are a subspecies of the gopher snake. As you can see from our last video, we kind of talked about how snakes eat and how they have to adjust their jaw and kind of unhinge it so they're able to open their mouth wide enough to swallow. They can eat something about twice the size of their face, because that's how wide they can open their mouth. But it must take a really long time for them to get it down into their mouth. And you can kind of see her adjusting her jaw. Every once in a while you might see her stick out her little black tongue. So that tongue is actually her sniffing the air. So that is how she's actually able to find her food right now. She keeps sniffing and finding new things. And when I picked her up, she knew that I wasn't food because I didn't smell like her food. And she was probably familiar with my scent, so she didn't feel too threatened.
Do you know if they have the same distribution as the hognose snake?
They have a slightly altered hognose snakes. There are western and eastern hognose snakes, and both we have a limited population of both here in Iowa. And though bull snakes will be found in both, their range will not continue throughout their entire range for each other. So they may have some overlap, but it won't be the entirety of it. So as you guys can see, the bull snake has a very ground colored body, and it kind of has a yellow brownish dull mid body and a bright yellow tail. Sometimes the entire body and head will be straw yellow, but as you can also see, there's kind of those rings around its tail, and it has those dark blotches throughout its body. Around its head, it will be much darker and have more of that dark coloration.
We have a question. What is the habitat size requirement needed?
So, the habitat, they have a fairly large habitat where they like controlling. They tend to prefer bluffs or hill prairie and habitat that did not shift seasonally, so like flood season and so on and so forth. They try to avoid agricultural land just because that is where a lot of them have been killed because of heavy machinery and roadkill. But yes, they do have a very large home range, so one that they hunt for. They're most active in warmer months, so they'll be active from the beginning of April till late fall up until October. Otherwise, they will be in burrows hibernating throughout the winter. They are cold-blooded, so they do need to warm in the sun, especially females who are incubating eggs. They tend to sun themselves a lot more, and that's actually one of the reasons that they have some issues. They become a prime target for things like coyotes when they are sunning themselves. A lot of their eggs will be laid typically from June and July, and then they will incubate them until they hatch, which is in August or September. And a funny fact about their eggs is they have really sticky eggs, so they actually adhere to each other. Sadly, bull snakes are one of the better pests to have around the farmland because they are such good rodent control. So they're very valuable to farmers. Some of the main reasons that they have declined in numbers are increased traffic on roadways and fragmented habitat. So since there is such fragmented prairies, a lot of their species have had high mortality. And it is one of Iowa's #1 highway mortalities for amphibians and reptile species. It's the most commonly found.
How many mice do they eat per day?
So we only feed the bull snake. Typically we feed her 4 to 5 mice every week. And when it comes to winter time, they don't need to eat as much because they don't have the same digestion. So we tend to feed her 3 to 4 in the winter every other week. So in the summertime, they're much more active and they're able to metabolize that food that they eat. But in the wintertime, typically they are hibernating. So when they are hibernating, they don't have the same metabolism. So sometimes if they eat before they go into hibernation, it'll actually rot in their stomach and cause them to be very sick. But since she lives inside the nature center, we continue to feed her throughout the winter. All right, I think we're gonna go ahead and let Becky finish up her dinner in peace. But thank you very much for joining me today. And be sure to check out our other videos and check out our YouTube channel, Instagram, and check out some of those videos on there. Thank you.